Hello, I'm John McKnight, and I'm here today with Edwin Yuen, who covers systems management technologies for ESG. Edwin, there's no segment of the technology market today that's not being significantly impacted by cloud technologies. So when you look at the systems management market, how will cloud impact those technologies and vendors in the coming year?
Well, it's kind of interesting because cloud has impacted almost every single one of those vendors, because you almost can't be in vogue today without saying we're cloud enabled. So every product has got to go out there and say, yes, we handle the cloud. The new buzzword right now is multi-cloud, where everyone says, look, we handle it, we take care of every single one of these cloud vendors, we can touch any type of cloud that you want.
Whether it's Amazon or Microsoft or Google.
Exactly. Now, the interesting thing is that almost everybody is doing that. So while in 2016, there were a lot of management companies that thought they could be unique by saying, hey, we're Switzerland, we can really help you go to all these different vendors. Almost every systems management vendor is doing that, and 2017 is going to be a challenge for those vendors as they attempt to differentiate themselves to be not just multi-cloud, but how do you really kind of specialize in certain clouds.
So adapting to this new cloud-enabled, cloud-centric world is a challenge for every provider, even including the cloud providers and more born in the cloud companies themselves. But I imagine it would be particularly challenging for maybe some of the traditional incumbent systems management vendors that have had to adapt to a more cloud-centric world.
It really is, because if you think about those traditional management vendors, how they differentiated themselves from all the other solutions is they were able to either put in or invent technologies that got a little bit of extra functionality or capability within systems management. But in the cloud, they don't own that platform. So they're limited by what that platform is going to allow them to do, what they can either instrument in or even API out. So a lot of those traditional management vendors are kind of struggling to kind of figure out how they can differentiate themselves within that system. And in fact, that kind of impacts those cloud-born vendors also. Those cloud-born vendors, they're used to just working with those APIs. When they then have to connect to traditional infrastructure systems, they don't have the differentiated technology to kind of push themselves, which is why they often look to traditional vendors to partner with.
So vendors on all sides, or both sides, have a share of challenges ahead of them. How do you see both the traditional and the new vendors most successfully differentiating themselves over the next, say, 12 to 36 months?
That's actually a really interesting question. I think a lot of people were thinking there'd be a convergence of all these different vendors, they would bring their products together. What I see is that all the vendors are going to talk about convergence, but where they're going to differentiate themselves is actually back to where they start. You're going to see cloud vendors or cloud-born vendors really emphasize the deeper integration they have with specific public cloud vendors. And you'll see the infrastructure vendors kind of double down on saying, hey, I've got some great converged or hyper-converged. I can do the cloud, but I can really accentuate myself doing the areas that I have within. So while the market is going to talk about convergence, what we're actually going to see is a little bit more divergence in terms of their differentiations.
Great. Well, it's a fascinating space, and Edwin has lots of research on tap for the coming year to look into all of these issues. So to see more of Edwin's research and read his blog, please visit esgglobal.com.